Happy Friday, everybody. It's Linda Bartolucci with Ink Stamp and Scrap, and today we're going to do our Friday demo. So today we're going to work with the Memorable Mosaic stamp set, the new Timeless Label Punch, and a lot of the Memorable Mosaic paper. First thing I want to show you, just to remind you, when I was designing these cards, it was made very easy for me to figure out what colors to use, or Mosaic Mood. We're using the Mosaic Mood paper, and I knew what colors were in it because I had this reference that I've copied and pasted from Stampin' Up. If you want to download this, you can right from my website. Just go under Stampin' Up and you'll see the designer series paper guide right there. You can print it off and put it near your paper to make sure you know what colors are in what packs. Just makes life really easy to have this handy. Wanted to share with you what I've been up to. I actually just finished for a good high school friend of mine. Her son's getting married, and I made rehearsal dinner invitations. No, they didn't come with these cute little speckles. This was my test draft, and this is how they came out. I used the To a Wild Rose that we used in our Friday demo a few times ago. Just a couple of the dies and die cut this one. It's a pretty simple invitation, but it served their needs, and then there was a food card that went with it as well. So that's one thing that I've been up to. Pretty fun. Took a lot of time, but it was really fun. And then, like I said, today we're going to work with the Memorable Mosaic stamp set and punch, and as well as the paper. But first, I know you guys are curious who gets all of the paper share that I told you if you made comments, you would win last time. So don't forget, same thing holds this time. Different prizes, but for every comment, you are putting in a chance to win a prize. So the winners from 2 weeks ago are Jenny Vitale, and these are not ranked, they're just numbered so I knew how many there were. Alice Targowski, Sue Wisniewski, Sandra Morris Bergen, Linda Hornbeck Morrow, Kathy Vaverka, Nancy Briscoe, and Nancy's special note, no, I need to send you something and it's on its way, Fran Ward, and Regina. So what you guys need to do, I'll just leave this way, send a snail mail to Linda Bartolucci, or sorry, that's my other one, to Linda at inkstampindscrap.com by July 19th. Include your snail mail in that email so that I can send you your pack. Now you'll notice there's only 9, and I told you guys there were more than 9. So the top posters, I'm going to go back and just figure out who made the most comments, and those people will, until I'm rid of the designer series paper, they'll get a bonus pack. So that's how we're going to work that out. All right, let's get to, I'll review this again at the end, but I just want to share this with you now. The hostess code that we're working with this month is AF6XB2VG. I really appreciate it if you use that. For those of you that are watching this either live or delayed, if you place an order before with me as your demonstrator using this hostess code before July 15th, and it's $25 or more before shipping, I'm going to send you a tutorial bundle. If you place an order of 50 or more before July 15th, I will give you a tutorial bundle plus 4 note card kits. And that'll make more sense once you see this demo. The next time we're getting together is July 22nd at 3 p.m. So that's next Friday. It's actually my sister's birthday too. All right, so maybe we'll do birthday cards. Although hers will have already been sent, but maybe we'll, in the spirit of her birthday, do birthday cards. All right, let me grab the first thing. Oh, shoot, something just fell. I have all these pieces. Okay. All right, so let me show you where we're going with this. All right, so I've already made, and this is what I mean by note card kits. I've already made 2. These are the very vanilla note card and envelopes. And what you'll get with your note card kit is all the things that you need besides the stamped images to make note cards. Now, I may run out, if there's lots of you on here, of the Mosaic Mood, so you may get a different designer series paper, but you're still going to use the same dimensions and patterns, and you'll be able to make it work. So if that happens, I will make sure that whatever paper you get, the greetings in the stamp set that goes with it will fit on your note card. Okay. So if I have to go to Bird Ballad, it might be a larger stitch die label. I'll make sure it all works. All right. So basically what I want to show you is that this is a great way to use up scraps of designer series paper. I know we like to hoard paper, but if you don't use it and share it with other people, they don't get to see how beautiful it is. And these are really simple designs, and all I did was use the flip side as the backing for my greeting. So these are just simple little thank you cards. And then I started getting my coordinating envelopes ready to go. I just wanted to show you how that works. So I'm just gonna cut one or two just so you can see. All right, so let's finish these two off, and then I'll show you, I'll make one of the green ones just to show you how it all goes together. So when I make my coordinating envelopes and I'm just putting a topper on here, sometimes I just put a strip. If I'm in a big hurry, I'll just put a strip right along the top and then just snip and be done. So I'm only cutting maybe to here. But we're gonna go extra special today. So the reason that I did this ahead of time is that I use multi-purpose glue, liquid glue, to put this together. And I like to let it have a chance to dry before I cut the designer series paper off. The longer, you want to use really sharp scissors like our paper snips, but the longer strokes you use with the scissors, the better. I just got to talking and started cutting short, but it really is good to use the longer strokes. All right, we're almost there. And there we go. So that's how I do the envelope, just like that. So what I would do is I would put multi-purpose glue on the other side of this flap. This is 2 by 5 1/4, which is long enough for the flap and wide enough for the length of the envelope. And then I take my bone folder after I place the paper exactly where I want. The nice thing about liquid glue is you can, you know, shift it around just a little bit if you don't get it on perfect the first time. And then I take my bone folder and just gently, not like super hard because you don't want glue to come squishing out if you put too much. And you want to make sure that you get glue on the edges. So there is a chance if you push too hard with your bone folder, that's going to happen. You want to make sure you have glue on the edges and just use the bone folder to set a nice tight seal. And then just set it aside for, 10 minutes or so and let it dry. I just find it's easier to cut once it's completely dry. All right, so we have those two. I have one more here. This is to go with the one that we're going to actually finish off. So please make sure that you're leaving comments. Let me know what you've been creating. Let me know what you've been working with. Definitely give me ideas on what you want to see in the coming weeks. I have some things planned, but my plans can change because I'd like to show you what you want to see. So let me know if there's colors you want to see or anything like that. And speaking of colors, for those of you that love the new in colors, we currently still don't have the purple posy ink pad. I haven't seen an update on it. I do look every day to see if they gave us an update. So if by the time you're watching this afternoon there's been an update, I'm commenting right now, holy cow, it's available. But the last time I checked, it was not. So there's my 3 envelopes. 2 of them are already claimed with these cards. So let me show you how I put the card together. So I took a piece of the designer series paper and I cut it at 5 inches, which gave me 3 of these, because these are 5 by 3 1/2. And then I had a little bit left over, and that's what I used to punch. I didn't have quite enough left over to do the envelopes, but I did have enough to get my punched images. So let me show you what I mean when I say that, let me get my extra paper here. When I say that I use the liquid glue and then the bone folder. So when I use these note cards, let's start there. First thing I do is crease it, but I also, because the note cards are made, the vanilla ones are made with the thick designers or the thick paper, I just go back and forth. All right. And then sometimes it's just a manufacturing thing. There's a little gap here. You can decide, do you like the edge or do you want it to be completely covered? I'm going to go for completely covered. So that's the way we're going to do this one. And then I actually think, And then we're going to, actually, we're going to do this. Yeah. Can I? Yeah. Yeah, those will go with it. We'll do that. All right, so we're going to go the other way. So I'm not going to use the glossy side up. We're going to do glossy side down. Boy, is this daring. On the fly, I'm changing my design here, but that's okay, because I already have some of the stamping and punching done. I think I want it to go, you know what, we're really going to change this up. Look at this. Creativity right in front of you. Okay, so we're going to go this way. So when I put it on, I know I'm going to miss, and I want to line up with the edge. So I kind of glide it over. I find that easier. And then I just make sure, pull it apart a little bit so you can see that you got all the edges. Look at that. Close enough. Is it hanging over it a little? So let's see if I can. All right, there we go. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to take my bone folder and just make sure it's got it. Just use this edge and make sure it's nice and pressed in there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the glossy side for this. And we're going to take our thank you in here. And there we go. Look at that. That's cool. Okay. So we're going to take a few dimensionals. We're still going to use the same design that we did on this one, but we're just going to change up the color scheme. So this is actually mint macaron and crushed curry, and I think maybe so saffron. I could grab my handy little paper to see, because it looks like it's a much lighter. I know crushed curry is one of the yellows, because we're going to use that in the next, oh, there we go. So, crushed curry. No, crushed curry, so it's just a lighter shade of crushed curry. But this is mint, but garden green goes with mint. That's the dark that coordinates with the mint macaron, so I'm good with it. And there's mint in here to go this way, so we're just going to keep moving forward. All right. I'm really glad that the way we're doing this is working out with the Premiere, because my internet is still really spotty, and like I said, we're going to end up moving pretty soon, so I don't feel like fighting with Spectrum. TV works fine. That keeps the family happy. So we're just going to leave it at that. I'm going to put one on the center of these. For this, I fussy cut these, but you can, if you have a 3/4 inch punch, it goes right up against the edge. If you have an inch, I felt like for my taste, it left a little bit more than of a border than I wanted. So that's why I fussy cut them. True confession, I actually punched them all with the 1 inch just to give me the circle, and then I did the fussy cut. Hope that makes sense. So I stamped the image, I punched it with the 1 inch circle punch, and then I fussy cut around just to get a little bit tighter. So there we go. That's cool. Okay, so now these are 3 note cards that can go together. I'd probably make 4. It's great to give to a friend. You can slide these in. Oh, actually, hang on. Where would you go anyway, right? You're here to watch. Oh, come on, let me put my hands on them really fast. Oh, there we go. Okay, I knew. See, we have these. So if I was going to gift these to somebody, these are our acetate boxes, and cards fit in these perfect. So you can just hold it back the other way, kind of a loud sound. I meant to grab one of these, and then see, you could just slide your note cards in here. It actually is sized to fit full cards, so you could do note cards or full cards. Come on. I'm going to do it this way so the flap shows through, so it looks cool on both sides. And there you go. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. This one wants to pop out, but there you go. So you could use one of our acetate boxes to gift it up. All right, so let's get on to the next project. We're going to do another note card, but we're going to just use a little bit of designer series paper, kind of step it up, and I want to show you about a trick I've learned about using these bolder images. So let me clear off my workspace here. I'm going to close up my glue and all right, so this time we're going to use terracotta tile and crushed curry for our inks, and we're going to use the new terracotta tile linen ribbon and some glue dots to attach our ribbon. We have one of the note cards again, and an envelope. I have my 2 by about 5.5 piece of designer series paper, and it's actually, this is one of the embossed patterns. You can see it's catching the light. And then I have a 1.5 by 5 piece of designer series paper that I'm going to use on the card. All right, so let me show you my trick. I need a spoon, hold on, and a towel. All right, so I'm going to show you, let's see, did I bring it over here? Oh, here it is. Okay, so I want to show you, see how this is the first time I stamped this, and this is the second time. And this is a much better image. You don't have this extra ink here, and you can really see the stitching clearly here, where it's here it's kind of muddled. Here you can see all of the stitching. This is how you are able to accomplish that, especially if you live in a humid, like summertime is a humid environment for you, or you're somewhere where all year round is humid. So let me get, I just need a scratch piece of vanilla. All right, and a stamp pad. And you're wondering, why does she need a spoon? Going to show you. I'm not going to go off of it, so I can just use this like so. Okay, so let's just try. I have my stamp already on my acrylic block, so I'm just going to try. Actually, I know this is really inky. I can hear it, because the ink has settled since I did this before. So I'm going to stamp this. I've got it nice and juicy, but because the words and everything on this, see how you can see where there's like heavy ink and light ink, and that'll, when it dries, it'll go away a little bit, but not completely. Here's the trick. Have a towel handy. You can use a paper towel. I just like my microfiber towels. Take a spoon and move that excess ink away. Now, it's gonna redistribute and settle after you stop using the ink pad. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on the spoon, but enough to pick up some ink. And so I'm gonna drop it back down here a bit and let it set on this part. And then I'm just gonna use my spoon to wipe it off. All right, and now I'm going to, I'm actually gonna stamp this off. So let's bring this back in. There we go. I'm going to make sure that's stamped off. Now I'm going to go ink up the spot in the area of the ink pad where I moved the ink away, and watch. Much better. So that's something you can do. This works really well for this kind of a stamp where it's picking up a lot of ink, and especially a phrase stamp has very thin lettering, like the sending all happy. It also works great with our distinctive stamps where it looks like a photograph of, trying to think, let me, ooh, hang on. Here we go. So, for example, a few weeks ago we worked with this stamp set. This kind of a stamp. All of these that are have a lot of shading in them and whatnot. If you stamp this kind of a stamp and you end up with like just a muddled mess, but then you use the spoon, it will be much easier to see the image. So anything like that where the single stamp image has a lot of shadowing to it, that's what we call our distinctive stamps. All right, so let's punch this out. I can already tell you that it's not going to work too well because the punch is like this and that's too high up. So I'm going to take my snips, since this is just scrap, and just cut across, and we'll use that later. And now I'm going to take my timeless label. So the timeless label goes with several, it goes with this stamp set. That it's made to coordinate with a couple of the images in this stamp set. It coordinates with various images in the catalog, and then it also coordinates with one of the hostess sets. There's, I think, 6 stamps in that the hostess set that it coordinates with. All right, let's close this up so I don't get inky fingers. And let's get to putting our card together. All right, so I'm going to need this. I'm going to slide this back and forth. All right, and I'm going to do it this way. So we're going to, real quick, do our envelope while I'm thinking about it because I want it to dry a little bit. So what I do is I start in the middle, so if I get too much, it's okay, it's in the middle. And when I have just a light amount flowing out, I go around and just swirl it at the middle. Then I take my designer series paper, make sure it's covering the whole flap, line it up with the seam of the envelope and the flap, and then take my bone folder and just lightly go along like that, and then set it aside. Okay, I'm bringing my card back in. We're just going to use snail. I could use liquid glue, but I'm just going to use some snail to attach this. There we go. I'm going to put this here. Okay. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to trim it off just a bit. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to add the medallions in crushed curry. All right, so put this flat so it'll be easier. No, I'm actually going to grab my pad again, because one thing when you're making, let me bring the sample back in. When you're making a random line like this, one way to make sure that everything works out great and it doesn't look unbalanced is make sure that the top one or the bottom one, wherever you start, is partial. Because then no matter how you end up, it looks fine. So it doesn't matter that this one is partial too, because so was the one at the top. That makes sense? If this was a whole one, it would kind of be weird to your eye if this one wasn't whole. And then there's a lot of pressure on you to get it stamped exactly the way you need to. All right, so there's our line of medallions. And then we're going to take the terracotta ribbon. We're going to take off, I don't know, let's see. It's probably about 10 inches. Get my ribbon scissors. Actually, let's think about this. Where's my thing? Here it is. I'm only doing, let's be a little more specific for you. That seemed like an awful lot for what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go like that. That's more than enough. Okay. So ribbon wise, let's see what we've got. We've got, let's call it 8 inches. So that seems fine. All right, and then all I'm going to do is swirl it back and forth. This is the name, my name for the way the ribbon goes. I call it swirling the ribbon. And I'm just going to go like this. What I am trying to do is get as much of the terracotta piping to show as possible. I think the back of the ribbon looks beautiful too, but I just want as much of the coordinating terracotta as possible. So there we go. that works. I'm gonna pull this up, pull this down, pull that up, and then slide it. There, that's better. Because I can trim off a little bit. Okay, whoop, here we go. So that's the way I want it. I'm gonna, probably should have snailed first. It would have been easier, but that's okay. So we'll bring this back and make sure, yep, that still works. All right, there we go. It doesn't have to be perfect or even. It's supposed to look kind of free-handed. This is free-handed. All right, and now we're gonna add dimensionals because I want this to really pop up. 1, 2, 4 looks good. 1, 2. So it'll be balanced with the 4. And I'm not putting one in the middle because it's just going to go wonky trying to stay on that ribbon. It would be fine once I squish it on the card, but it's kind of a pain. All right, so there we go. And then we're just going to bring this where it looks good to me. And that's where it looks good to me. And there we go. So just a little stamps, ink, and paper, a tiny bit of extra ribbon if you want. These note cards are great. They are perfectly fine to put postage on and send in the mail. So you can use these. Let's bring in our envelope and finish this off. And then we will recap real quick. I will be back next week and we'll be doing more projects. Just a little, I know I've talked about this. We actually put our house on the market, and so showing it means keeping the house absolutely spotless, including my craft room. So it left me less creative time this past week, but luckily it looks like we are done showing and things are progressing. So yay for us. All right. So this is the one we just did. This is the one I had done before. And then this is the box that we just completed previously with our other note cards and envelopes. So now I've got my 4th one that I could tuck in here. Let me just show you that it does fit, because even though these are 3.5 by 5s, this is the thickness that 4 note cards and envelopes would be. So the 4th one goes in here just fine. And now it's nice and full and you can send it on its way. If I was going to send this, I would definitely wrap a little bit more designer series paper around it and put a greeting here too. All right, so there we go. That's today's projects. Let me bring in the sheets that I started with just to recap. These are our winners. So these 9 ladies need to send me an email by July 19th to claim your prize. Nancy, I know I have another prize that I owe you, so you're going to get a bonus. And I already have your address, so we're off to the races. So please email me with your snail address to claim your prize by July 19th. And then for those top posters, I will add a bonus package since I have more than 9 packages to give away. We are working with hostess code AF6XB2VG. And if you order $25 or more with me before Monday, I will send you a tutorial bundle. And if you order $50 before or more before Monday, you will get a tutorial bundle plus designer series paper and 4 note cards and envelopes to make note cards just like I showed you today. Don't forget, if you are ordering $150 or more, don't use the hostess code. You take the benefits. That's for you. And next time we're getting together is July 22nd. That's next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So thanks so much for watching and have a great weekend.